full-time artist, just trying to figure things out and spread a little bit of joy on the way. Welcome to my studio vlog. Let's go hang out. Let's get into some real talk. We are going to be talking about events and how to behave at them, how to change your perspective for them, some tips on setting up, and just general my experience. Really want to start sharing more information with you through my journey as I do these studio vlogs. I'm going to share with you as I paint, and I'm just going to talk and show you some stuff I've been working on throughout the week. But I want to talk about what it's really like as a full-time artist and where I'm at in my journey. There's so much information out there, and there's so many experts. There's so many people who are so like they know everything that's going on, and that's great, because trust me, I consume their content and I take those pearls and then I leave things behind that I don't maybe agree with, or it doesn't apply to me. But I'm not an expert. I'm going to tell you that right now. Not an expert here. I'm just a regular person. I'm a artist. I was a vet tech for 14 years. I am new at this. I did not go to college for this. I did not go to school. I am self-taught artist. About a year and a half ago now, I became a full-time artist. And I became a full-time artist because life changed. It was the opportune moment. I had been doing art thing part-time as a business and working, over 30 hours a week as a vet tech. And so some things changed, and it was like, hey, you know what? Actually, it seems like it's time now. It's time. This is maybe a now or never. Let's go ahead and do it. Take that plunge and try. So it wasn't because I had met this amazing, success, and however that's defined. It was because life just kind of changed and it presented an opportunity, and we decided to take it. And when we decided to take it, we also decided that vacations aren't gonna happen. We don't have expendable income. It's tight. And that's just part of it. I still do some work on the side to bring in income because my income's so consistent being an artist. To me, it's really important to share that. It's also vulnerable. It's scary to share that because I do want to be like, oh yes, everything's perfect, everything's great, this is wonderful. It is wonderful, and I absolutely love it. It's freaking hard, guys. It's hard, and I want to share with you my journey. So from start to where I end up in this world, this beautiful world, wherever that is, I want to share that with you, and I want to share those highs and those lows with you. And my goal is to still spread joy. My goal is to have a warmth and a comfort, and I want to be authentic with you. And so here I am, bearing it all to you and sharing with you my life as a full-time artist. All right, today's sponsor is me. All right, really? I don't have any sponsorship. Maybe one day I'll get there, but right now I'm not there. So if you want to support me, just head on over to my website. It's abigailemmertart.com. You can shop prints there and magnets and original artwork and commissions and all of that good stuff. You can also sign up for my newsletter there, and I hope to see you around. Oh yeah, and the common. Boop that subscribe button. Give me a like, comment, all of those good things. When you do that, it tells YouTube that my video is something worth watching, and so it shares it with more people, so more people can get to hear these wonderful tips I have about being a full-time artist and doing art events, and they can join me on my journey as I learn how to be a full-time artist and business owner. Okay, so let's talk art events today. To me, art events are really important because that is really how I've gotten my name out there, and I gain a lot of traffic by doing these art events. So when I initially started off, my first event that I ever did was in June of 2021, and it was a reptile show, and I painted like reptiles for it, and I felt like maybe I was gonna kind of hit this niche of an audience of people who love their reptiles and who were going to be spending money on them. We know the reptile industry, and we know that they spend money. I didn't know that they won't spend money not on their reptiles. So it ended up being a great way though for me to start practicing, like getting out in front of people, setting up a table, setting up a booth, talking to people. I also went to that show with a lot of originals. I didn't have prints. I wasn't prepared. One of my big takeaways right off the bat is go to your events and make sure you have affordable or accessible options. So if you're new and you're starting out and you're not at those big giant art fairs, then you need to be having stuff in your tent or your booth that is available, like stickers, magnets, prints, small, like under $20 items. If you're over that, people really have to think about buying art. At least in my experience, people really have to think about buying art. But if it's under $20 and they like it, and it sparks that joy response or some emotional connection, they're likely to just buy it and not even consider if it's under $20, right? They just blew $20 on beer and food at the food truck, right? So it doesn't matter. So that's really important. So that's number one. And so I continue to do art events, and I love doing them, and I love talking with people and getting to know people, and I've learned a lot from them by watching. If it's a slower show and you're not engaging a lot with the people coming in and out of your booth, I definitely have found sit back and watch. See what they're looking at. See how they approach your booth. Do they walk into it? Do they kind of do this whole like, and then pass by? Do they say something to the person they're with? Do they point at something and say they like it or smile? Or watch them, take notes, literally take notes. I'll whip out my phone and I'll make a note. I keep a running sheet, and this sheet is, this is the event, this is the date that it was on, this is what the weather was like if it was outside, it was busy, it wasn't busy, there's a lot of maybe more like crafty vendors versus artistic vendors. I make any little note that I think might help me, because as much as I think I'm gonna remember it, I'm not. If I'm doing 15 events in a year, there's no freaking way I'm gonna remember what I did in May versus what I did in December. I even go through all my notes and I make how much was the booth fee, how much was the application fee, how much money did I make, what sold. So like if a certain print was selling well, I wanna make those notes because that's kind of telling me potentially what the market is at that event. Maybe if I do that event in the future, I don't even bring any originals because it's just not gonna happen there. Versus bring lots and lots of stickers and magnets and little tiny like $5 items. Now, if you don't carry that kind of stuff, that's fine. These are my experiences, so I'm just sharing them with you. Second thing is, and this is kind of controversial when I talk to some artists, and not maybe controversial is probably not the correct word for that, but it's a debated thing. It's business cards, right? So business cards, people want them, they want them. And a lot of artists and a lot of other like vendors that I've spoken with at events, they're like, oh, I don't do business cards. They can take a picture of my booth and they can follow me on social media. Great. Well, we know what social media looks like. We know what that algorithm looks like. I've got 830 followers. Well, 40 people see my post every time. 40 people. I have 840 followers and only 40 of them see my post on Instagram. Okay, so don't trust social media to get your name out there and keep people in touch with you. It's not the way to stay in touch. So there's two ways to stay in touch with people when they come to your booth and they like your artwork. First way, newsletter. Do it. If you don't have it, start getting a list. All kinds of companies out there that offer free email systems up until so many subscribers. So if you're just getting names right now, get them. Send them an email once a month. Hey, I'm going to this event. It was so nice to meet you. This is my new collection I'm launching. Oh, I just, released these new stickers. Keep in contact with people because that's how you're going to stay in touch. The second way, business cards. I know, I will send 200 business cards out over the course of a couple months through events, and I will hear back from maybe 2 of those people. It's ridiculous, I know, but I've also had people take my business card and contact me 8 months later. I myself have been guilty of taking business cards from other artists I put them away, I put them in a drawer, I kind of forget about it, and then I open up that drawer later and I'm looking through there, I'm like, oh man, that was this artist, I totally forgot about them. I go and I follow them, I find their website, I'm shopping, I'm buying prints. It's kind of exciting. It's like a little treasure, I find. So the business cards, yes, I hate that they're wasteful with paper. I hate that people tend to throw them away. I hate that a lot of them leave and I don't hear back from a lot of people. But I also believe that we don't know how long people hang on to business cards for. So if you said, I sent 50 business cards out the door at this event I did on Saturday, and I haven't heard back from anybody and it's been 2 months, it could be 2 years before you hear back from people. So don't. It's totally cool. Don't freak out about it. Just have the business cards. People want it. People want to have something in their hand. I offer a virtual business card that people can scan a QR code. I have that at my booth, and most of the time, people don't do it. Number 2, business cards and newsletter. Definitely recommend those things. Have them with you at the events. Another thing that I've learned doing my events is, at least where I'm located in Indiana, a lot of people don't like to engage. So the shoppers, customers, whatever they are, the attendees, they don't necessarily always want to engage. So I need to make it comfortable for them, because some people have social anxiety, some people just don't want to talk to you, some people are busy or they're in their own head, and who knows, they have so many reasons. They don't want me at the front of the booth saying, hey, come on in. It freaks them out. They're like, nope. It's the same feeling if you go to the mall and the people have those little kiosks in the middle and they're like, let me straighten your hair. And they're doing, and you're like, God, I don't want to go to the mall. Like, at least my mall has that, and it's really annoying. Like, they want to do stuff, they want to touch me, they want to put lotion on me, they're reaching for me. Like, I can't even walk through the mall to go to like a true brick and mortar store because I feel like I'm getting harassed. So I never want to be that person. I don't ever want to be that artist that feels like that. So then the other thing I've done before is that I've just sat at the front and I've worked on artwork, and so people can come inside, which people do like because they want to come in, they want to come behind me and they want to look at the art I'm doing. But then I'm kind of shut down and I'm creating a wall, and I'm also like the gatekeeper. I'm like the troll that you have to you can pass and come in my booth and look at my art. Just stop that. Stop doing that. So what I have found is put my tables, if you have tables, I have tables, put my tables up front. Put it as up front as possible or a little bit inside, because people want to just walk by. Tables need to be higher. They don't want a bunch of stuff laying flat on table surfaces. So these are some things that I've learned that I definitely want to share with you because it makes a difference. I had an event a few weeks ago with an artist that she was fairly new at doing events, and day one, I rocked it out. My neighbors next to me rocked it out. Like, we had amazing, I've had one of my best days there, and it was awesome. This new artist had her booth set up, so you come in and you had to go into the depths of this area to look at her art and everything, and it wasn't that dramatic, but that's how it feels, right? That you're gotta navigate through this cave to get to the back and look at the art, and people don't want to do that. They don't want to feel trapped, and they don't want to feel like they have to engage if they don't like the art, right? But we have to give them that opportunity to decide, and they're already deciding right off the bat. They don't want confrontation, so they're not going to go in. So I asked her the next day, I was like, hey, would you like some feedback on your booth? Do you want some help? And she was like, yes, I'll take it. And I was like, let's move everything up front. So literally we moved everything. We moved her whole thing around the next day because it was a 2-day event, and we pulled everything up front, and we created more of a U, kind of like an arc. So they kind of step in, they get a view stuff. There's a few things at the back, but mostly everything's at the front. She did great. She said it completely different. I think she sold a couple originals. She sold a lot more prints. She did really well. And I did great on day 2 as well, and so did my other neighbor. And so it was a good event anyways, but booth setup makes a difference. And I have gone in on events and I've had my booth set up and I've changed it midway through. But I've done enough of these now that I'm not afraid to adjust and roll with it if it seems like it's not working. Oftentimes as a vendor, and you know, I'm an artist and I don't mind calling myself a vendor, but some artists get really upset and really offended. Like, I am an artiste. You will not call me a vendor. And I'm sorry, we're all slinging shit. Like, I mean, we all have stuff and we're trying to sell it, and we all have goods and wares. And yes, I get it. Like, the difference is they're probably looking at like a vendor at like a home and garden show who's selling gutters versus, you know, an artist who's crocheting, or even an artist, you know, who's making like the most beautiful soap and all of that. It's whatever. I digress. You know where I'm at with all of it. I don't care. I will call myself a vendor. It doesn't matter. I'm out there selling my art, sharing it with the world, and call me what you want. Just be nice. This is such a tricky kind of subject, and it's really tough, and it'll really bring you down really quickly because it's a perspective thing. I've shifted my perspective over the years of doing events because it hurt to look at events and say, was this a good event? Was this a bad event? Did I make enough money? What's enough money? Like, what are my standards in a sense? I want to make booth feedback. That's it. And again, other artists will say other things. To me, my goal, I want to make booth back. Because I put the money either like on a credit, because like I talked about earlier, the income's not consistent. So I might have put it on credit and I need to get that paid back. I want to make my booth back. Really, what a lot of it comes down to, a good event depends on my perspective. Talk about this. I had an event just a couple weeks ago. I've had really good events lately, and so it's been really awesome, and I've really been riding this high of, and a good in the sense of like, I've made good money at events recently, which has been great. I've sold a lot of artwork and I've had a lot of traffic. So even if I don't sell a lot of artwork, I've had a lot of engaging traffic. People come up to me, people want to talk to me, they want to look at the art, they want to just, oh, hey, that was great, I loved it, thank you for sharing your art with me, and they move on. I love that. To me, it's those engagements, it's spreading joy. I want to see the smiles on people's faces when they look at my art. I want to see people laugh and look at their friend and giggle and think of somebody or something. To me, I love that, and I think that's glorious. Again, that's perspective. A couple weeks ago, I was having a bad event though, and I was not getting engagement. People really weren't stopping. Really was beating myself up, honestly, because I was supposed to be outside. Last minute, I was able to get an inside booth. I opted to go ahead and go that route because I didn't want the weather component. I chose to do that, and then I started thinking I made the worst business call. It's like beating myself up. A couple hours into the event, and it's still really not doing good, I realize, okay, I'm a boss and I'm an employee. And it goes into that whole like inner dialogue. And I really sat down that day and I was like, you know what? You've done a really good job today. Talking to myself, you've done a great job today. You've been nice. You've been professional. You did a great job setting up your booth. You woke up really early. You got here. You've been working your butt off all day. And no matter what, you've kept a positive attitude and you've tried to share that with others. You've been great. We got our name out there. People saw us. It's okay. Sales don't matter. You did a great job today. You were a good employee. And thank you for your work. Sometimes it's as simple as that. I was feeling blue. And my whole day changed. One other thing about art events that I want to talk about is, well, two other things, I guess, and they go hand in hand. It's good neighbor, good event, bad event, right? So we just kind of talked about bad events and people coming in. So, and this is kind of like a public service announcement, because as a person who's out here putting myself out here, I feel like I should be talking about this and sharing this. Don't be rude. If you aren't an artist or you aren't like a vendor at this event and you walk into somebody's booth and you don't like their artwork, or you think their prices are too high, or you have anything mean to say, step out, walk away, and say it. You can say it in the booth, 2 booths down, talking about my booth. I don't care. Don't walk into my booth and say something rude. And I'm gonna tell you why. These artists, these vendors, they have a week, sometimes up to 2 weeks of work leading up to this event. They're preparing, they're increasing their inventory, they're creating more, they are everything, right? They've got all this time that they've poured into getting ready for this event. Then they woke up at the butt crack of dawn to get here, loaded up their vehicle, loaded all of their stuff up, which they've invested tons into, right? The tent setup, my tent was over $2,000. These things are expensive, guys. They're working their butts off. This last Saturday, I woke up at 4 a.m. so I could have a little workout, a 30-minute workout. Shower, make breakfast, pack up my food, and leave, and my car was already packed it up the day before, and leave by 6 a.m. I had to leave at 6 a.m. I get to my event at 7. I unload the car, we set everything up. The event doesn't even start till 10, but it takes hours to set these events up. We get everything set up. It starts at 10. So when you're coming into my booth, I've already been up for 6 hours at 10 a.m. I've already been up for 6 hours. I'm already exhausted. I have had so much coffee, I could fuel like a whole soccer team. Okay? I don't know where soccer team came from. Just roll with it. So then my event goes until 5 o'clock. Sometimes 6, sometimes 7 p.m. We are there all day. It is usually hot, or there's usually not good weather. There is usually some kind of component involved in it. We are being on the whole time. Often I am by myself. Often I don't have helpers with me. And so I'm relying on volunteers at the event or a kind neighbor who will watch my booth so I can go pee. I don't drink enough water and I don't stay hydrated well during them and I don't eat well. I crash after every event because I can't even take care of myself very well during them. So then if I have somebody come in who's rude or says something about all of my hard work, it hurts so much more. I don't think people realize the effort that goes into things. Like this last weekend, I was next to a macrame artist, and she has like the most beautiful like chandeliers that she was making, and they're gorgeous, and they're like $160. They're expensive, right? For a macrame thing. Really though, I know the kind of work that goes into it. Other people don't. And even when I was talking to her husband, she said that she had to like invest in a special air purifier because when she cuts the macrame, the fibers get in her lungs and it kept making her sick. It's like when you come into that macrame artist booth and you say something about her chandeliers costing too much money and that you could do that at home, then do it. Go do it at home, but don't say anything. Don't say anything in there because it's just rude. So on to the artist. You guys know how to act with each other, right? If you're an artist and you don't do these events and you want to get into them and you're learning about it and you're here because you're like, I want to do art events, great. Be nice. So be nice. That means be a good booth neighbor. Being nice and being a good booth neighbor is try to do something nice every event for somebody coming into your booth or another artist. I had been the most lucky recipient of this last event. These, we call them stick chimes, but they're like these little copper cattails, and they blow in the wind and they do create like a little chime. So I put them in my garden, and this vendor gave them to me, and so I want to share his information with you because these are absolutely beautiful. It is windandfirechimes.com. Absolutely beautiful craftsmanship. And I can't wait to get these out into my garden. And what a generous person. That is the type of people I want to support. These are the type of people I want in my circle.